Hello, everyone. And I really hope that there are no internet glitches and we can carry on with our conversations and our question and answers. To start with, like I had said, there are planetary configurations that are lined up for us, and we need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. So today I'm going to start with a very small little story, which I truly, truly believe in. And that's how I've always braced and embraced myself with the configurations or with whatever the energies the planets are sending us. Now, we all need to understand that the only bird that dares to peck the eagle is the crow. It sits on its back and bites its neck. However, the eagle doesn't respond, nor does it fight with the crow. It doesn't waste any time or effort on it. It just opens its wings and begins to climb up the highest place in the sky. The higher the flight, the harder it is for the crow to breathe, and then the crow falls due to the lack of oxygen. So stop wasting time with the crows around you, with dangerous people who only approach your life and try to destabilize you, to project their own storm on you. Just take them to your heights and they will disappear on their own. This is the message for the age of Aquarius, that we need to take everybody along, and we can only take everybody along if we are unfrazzled by what they are trying to impact on you, or brace yourself so much that you do not get stormed in by their negativities. Now, the eagle refers to the major transitions in life which happen when mega planets move. The crow refers to the planets that form your personality, which is always affected by the society you live in. You can ignore the caw-caw of the people and energy vampires is by focusing on yourself and soaring higher irrespective. So now is that period for the next 3 months. I repeat, now is that period for the next 3 months when metamorphosis takes place within, and this is applicable to everybody on this earth, to every living being. Either you rise above or you succumb to the circumstances. So do you want to be the eagle and utilize your intellect, or be the intellectual crow who caws the whole day long and disappears out of sheer exhaustion? Using your intellect constructively killed nobody. You can soar and achieve great heights and be a master of your own destiny. Today, the seminar is all about the cosmic tides, which are constantly shifting. But interpersonal or generational planets like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto shift once in 20-25 years. And when they do, oh boy, we sure are shaken from deep within. This shift completely alters the design of our lives. And even though every transit brings unique challenges and opportunities, but these generational planets are the real game changers and have the kind of rippling effect that is felt for years to come. So whether it's a collective transit that brings a tsunami of changes to the world and people across the globe, or a personal transit that creates a huge astrological wave that disrupts our life at various stages of our existence. These are fateful astrological moments that alter the trajectory of our lives. And when you're not prepared for the transformation, these transits, that what they bring, they throw us off balance. But forewarned can actually help us to be forearmed. So it's easy to get caught in a rip tide that pulls you underwater when you strap in and try to ride the waves. Because when you don't notice these transits or understand how to interpret or apply them to your life, it seems an uphill task overcoming your own emotions. So it's much harder to empower your soul's path and arrive safely on the shore. But instead of being negative and demoralized, instead of looking forward to and embracing the big wave of changes, you end up paddling against the current in the hopes that you'll avoid or navigate whatever's coming your way. So on March 28, 2023, Mercury, Venus, that's this 28th, day after, the personal planets which form your personality, just imagine the universal discipline. On March 28, 2023, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, accompanied by Uranus, will be aligned in an arc form along with the moon, the luminary, after sunset, constituting a rare astronomical event. This planetary alignment is exceptionally unusual since it contains Uranus, one of the hardest planets to spot from Earth. Now, for me personally, this means that our personality and our subconscious needs to be heeded and worked upon. This will help us brace ourselves, and our attitude will help us build our altitude. And in this trying period, our attitude is what will win us over. It's like there will be pain, but then loads and loads of gain. This clarity, once you get, and once you know how to brace yourself, there are loads and loads of gains to be got. Let's begin from March beginning. On March 7th, Saturn shifted into the sign Pisces. It prompted us to face our fears. Life did seem intense as both Saturn and Pluto were preparing to change signs. So when planets like these change signs and switch up the impact, it has a profound and slightly uncomfortable effect. We all feel uncomfortable without actually knowing that what is it that's making us uncomfortable. Now, these two are slow-moving planets. When they enter a new sign, they cross and tend to hang around the critical 0 degree. But imagine the wonder, the beautiful discipline of the universe that when Jupiter entered Aries from the 1st January 2023, and it's going to be there 17th, I'm talking about this year, right? The 17th of May 2023, Jupiter, which is considered a lucky planet, formed the best aspect. And this aspect is formed once in every 12 years for each sign of the zodiac. It indicated that we can form the greatest opportunities in all areas of life, or we can grab and actually create our opportunities in all our areas of life, initiate it. Initiate it is what Jupiter screamed. It helped us in our belief system, and it implied looking into your belief system and renewing your belief system. Now from 17th May 2023, the 31st of December 2023, Jupiter will move into the zodiac sign of Taurus, indicating in the exile aspect between Jupiter and the natal sun of Aries. So now the Aries have to work more for their happiness in life. That means we all have to work for our happiness in life. There can always be tense phases now and then, but we have to struggle more to achieve our liberation. Then on March 7th, 2023, coming back, Saturn transits into Pisces. Now, Saturn is the first to make a move on March 7th. Sirius Saturn has been at home in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years. And that is the length of time Saturn typically spends in one sign. So while Saturn ventured through Aquarius, we restructured our social lives and our worldviews on a very grand scale. The transit helped us innovate a specific area in our lives. Now, Taskmaster Saturn is moved into Pisces on March 7th, and traditionally, Pisces rules the 12th house of self-undoing, a death and a rebirth of your own truth. So as Saturn's journey through Pisces for the next 2.5 years, we'll all drastically transform one area of our lives. It may also be the time for some of us to confront our subconscious beliefs spiritually and work in accordance to what we feel is our life balance. There's a small story that I would like to tell you all here about the Saturn. It's actually, it's an unknown author, but I learned it through the Astro Butterfly. It's about the magic thread. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Peter who was always on the go. He found it hard to enjoy whatever he was doing at the moment. He was always hankering to the next thing. He often wandered through the wounds near his home, through the woods near his home, dreaming of the future. He would lay down on the soft forest floor in the warm sun, wishing for time to fly by. Perhaps something in the days to come would satisfy him. One hot afternoon, as he began to grow sleepy, he heard someone calling his name. He opened his eyes and sat up. Standing before him was an old woman. In her hand, she had a silver ball from which dangled a silken golden thread. "See what I got here, Peter," she said, offering the ball to him. "What is it?" he asked curiously, touching the fine golden thread. "This is your life thread," the old woman replied. "Do not touch it, and time will pass normally. But if you wish for time to pass more quickly, you have only to pull the thread a little way, and an hour will pass by like a second. But I warn you, once the thread has been pulled out, it cannot be pushed back in. It will disappear like a puff of smoke. The ball is for you. Do you want it?" Now Peter seized the gift from her joyfully. It was just what he wanted. He put the ball in his pocket and ran home. The following day at school, Peter sat daydreaming about what he would do with his magic thread. The teacher scolded him for not concentrating on his work. If only he thought it was time to go home. Then he felt the silver ball in his pocket. He pulled out a tiny bit of thread. The day would be over. So very carefully, he took hold of it and tugged. Suddenly, the teacher was telling everyone to pack up their books. The school day was over. Peter ran all the way home. Now, how easy life would be now. So all his troubles were over. From that day forth, he began to pull the thread just a little every day. But soon that wasn't enough. Once I give the thread a harder tug, school would be over altogether, he thought. Peter did just that. And the next morning, he woke to find himself apprenticed to a carpenter in town. "Now that I have a good job, I can marry my childhood sweetheart, Elsie," declared Peter. He pulled the thread a little more, and lo and behold, it was his wedding day. So Peter now tried his best to allow time to pass normally. These would be the best days of his life, and he didn't want time to pass too fast. He had also noticed that his mother seemed to be aging so quickly. So Peter felt a pang of guilt that he pulled the thread so often. A few months later, Elsie announced that she was going to have a baby. Peter was overjoyed and could hardly wait. So when the child was born, he felt that he could never want for everything again. But whenever the child was ill or cried through the sleepless night, he gave the thread a little tug, just as that the baby might be well and happy again. Now, Elsie and Peter had more children. As the number of the children grew, the house became more overcrowded. He had other worries too. His mother was looking frail and older and more tired every day. So all too soon she died. And as Peter stood at her graveside, he wondered how it was that life passed so quickly, even without pulling the magic thread. So one night, as he lay in bed, kept awake by his worries, he thought how much easier life would be if all his children were grown up and launched on their careers. He gave the thread another mighty tug, and the following day he woke to find that his children had all left home for jobs in different parts of the country, and that he and his life were alone. His wife were alone. So his hair was almost white now, and Elsie too was getting old and she was often ill. He picked up his magic ball and looked at it. To his dismay, he saw that the thread was no longer golden, but gray and lusterless. So he decided to go for a walk in the forest to think things over. He heard someone calling his name. He looked up and saw the old woman he had met so many years ago when she had given him the magic silver ball with its golden thread. Well, Peter, have you had a good life? She asked. I'm not sure, Peter said. I had no memories of my life. I pulled the thread so often that I don't even really know my wife or my children, much less my classmates, workers, or neighbors. It is true that I've never had to suffer or wait for anything, and yet it has all passed so quickly. I felt that I had no time to take in what has happened to me, neither the good things nor the bad. So, what do you want, Peter? Asked the old woman. At length, he said, I would like to live my life again, as if for the first time, but without your magic ball. Then I will experience the bad things as well as the good things without cutting them short. And at least my life would not pass as swiftly and meaninglessly as a daydream. So be it, said the old woman. Give me back the magic ball. She stretched out her hand and Peter placed the silver ball in it. Then he sat back and closed his eyes with exhaustion. When he awoke, he was on his bed. His youthful mother was bending over him, shaking him gently. Wake up, Peter. You'll be late for school. He looked up at her in surprise and relief. He noticed what a bright summer morning it was, the kind of morning when it felt good to be alive. Soon he would see his friends and classmates, and even the prospect of lessons didn't seem so bad. In fact, he could hardly wait. Now that's Saturn for you. So we all need, now when Saturn has moved into Pisces, it is calling for self-reflection. For the next 2.5 years, you need to self-reflect within yourself. What is it that your soul wants? What are the things that you need to change? But the process you must live. So the 7 Saturn dimensions are the stages of development. You need to know the first dimension is rules. The second dimension is time. Third dimension is patience. Fourth dimension is persistence. Fifth Saturn dimension is reality. Sixth is responsibility. And the seventh is when you gain mastery. So rules, time, patience, persistence, reality, responsibility, and then gaining mastery in your life. Divide this time and balance your life in these next 2.5 years, screams Saturn. And you don't have to be told what to do, because Saturn in Pisces says, start writing your journal and you will know exactly how to build your own rules, so that by the end of the 2.5 years, you actually would have gained mastery over your life and created plenty opportunities for you all to enjoy the life. Nothing will seem tough. Remember the story of the magic thread. Now, just as Saturn was switched on upon us, Pluto did so. It followed the Saturn, the lord of the underworld. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. And it has been in Capricorn since 2008, slowly transforming our ambition, drive, and aspirations. So when Pluto crosses the threshold into Aquarius on March 23rd, it marked the dawn of a new era. Actually, if you see from the last couple of days, it was as if shift is happening. But why are your energies shifting? Why are you feeling restless? Because when a mega dwarf planet is actually crossing over the threshold, it just awakens you. And it marks the dawn of the new era of your life. So for the next decade and beyond, because it takes 21 years. So for the next decade and beyond, we'll completely transform the way we communicate and connect with one another. Advancements in science and technology are on the agenda, and we'll see these go through some major and drastic changes in life. We'll experience just a little taste of what life will be like with Pluto in Aquarius. The energy may feel a bit strange until June, but after June, if you balanced and collected yourself, you will realize that you are now capable of advancing and making the life the way you visualize. Because after June, Pluto moves back into Capricorn. So whatever you plan and visualize now, the manifestation starts taking place after June. But what does Pluto's ingress into Aquarius mean for you specifically? So while Pluto is in Aquarius, We take social structures and politics especially seriously, and we seek major reform in these areas. Now, you have to first take things collectively, then personally. So unusual, intense, and dramatic happenings you will experience. These are possible with friends and your networks. During this long-term cycle, we are likely to confront issues of control and power related to individuality, equality, friendships, and group associations. We can be on a quest to distinguish ourselves for our progressiveness, scientific minds, ideals, humanitarianism, or unique qualities. It's also a time when we seek to change and overhaul the society through science, inventions, and your mindset and your ideas. So what is it that we need to expect? Pluto being in Aquarius, what can we expect from Pluto in Aquarius as a collective and as an individuals? At a collective level, Pluto in Aquarius will draw our attention to themes like groups of people, society, technology, innovation, and our hopes and dreams for the future. At an individual level, Pluto moves into a different sign. Your focus will shift to completely the new area of your life, wherever the Aquarius sign is situated in your chart. So Pluto rules a particular area of your life, that is the house where you have your Scorpio on the cusp. Let's take an example. If Scorpio is in your sixth house, then Pluto rules the sixth house areas of your life: work, health, productivity, and work-life balance. So if when Pluto was in Capricorn in the last 16 years, your approach to work and health was Capricornian in nature. From now on, for the next 20 years, your approach to work will be Aquarian in nature, which means that you do things unselfishly. You do things what benefit the world at large, and you get benefited in return. You will feel drawn to more innovative fields of work. Your work will be driven by a desire to help the humanity rather than climbing the career ladder or making your boss happy. And you may want to feel part of a community rather than work under direct supervision. You may use new gadgets, new technology, or alternative medicine to monitor and improve your health rather than always listening to your GP, your grand practitioner, who would probably just tell you something and put you in a loop. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is an invitation to take a more Aquarian approach to life. What is an Aquarian approach to life? For the masses. That what you learn, your experiences come for the benefit of the masses also, because when you interact with them. So many people associate Aquarius with technology, robots, and while Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, is indeed concerned with progress and innovation, associating Aquarius with technology is missing the point. Aquarius is the sign of friends, communities, groups of people. It's a sign of humanity. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, Europeans broke away from monarchy and draconian rules. We had the French Revolution. We had the sign of the American Constitution. This is also when the steam engine was invented, which revolutionized transportation and manufacturing. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals was founded, which marked the beginning of the animal welfare movement. What do all these movements have in common? They shifted the focus from top-down ruling to the people and well-being of everyone. Now, this Aquarian transformation always starts with an agenda of helping humanity as a whole. So the goal of Aquarius is to bring people together to help us find a sense of belonging. And how Aquarius does that can be mediated through technology. If technology is not set up in the best interests of the people, then technology may not be the answer. In fact, while Pluto is in Aquarius, we may see a counter movement of people switching off their devices and focusing on their heart and making genuine connections, first starting with themselves and then going over to the world at large. Because knowing yourself, knowing what you want, being connected with yourself is the highest form of spiritualism, which later on creates positive energies and the universe gets attracted to you. So technology does have a positive side to you. Basically, if you're hearing me out, I would say it's thanks to the Aquarius innovation. Online platforms can be used to find like-minded people who can later become our friends. Do we use technology as a means to an end or as an end goal in itself? Pluto in Aquarius is an invitation to rethink, restructure, revolutionize the area of your life that is ruled by Pluto. So you can find a greater sense of connection and belonging, beginning with the connect with yourself, doing things what truly make you happy. And the connection is what you attract through your auras, and other people get connected to you. And you actually are being benefit either which way. So the 2020 through Pluto, which has moved in Aquarius, is for just a few months to start. These 3 months are very, very potent, from March 23rd to June 11th, 23. And then Pluto will be at a 0-degree Aquarius the entire time, and it turns retrograde on May 1st. And it is retrograde again in the 0 degrees only. So now what you need to understand is that till June, you visualize. And when the Pluto is retrograde, that is when the profoundness takes place. The visualization automatically turns into manifestations. And this is likely the time that the great conjunction or mutation, what we say, is most triggered and really gets us started with that energy. We can feel a big push to move into the next phase of our lives. One phase of life over. So to shift into the new future, whatever that looks like or means for you. You don't need people to tell you what it means. You need to just listen to your heart. So no other planets aside of the moon will be in Aquarius at the same time as Pluto in 2023. So it's largely operating on its own, except for the square to the transit Jupiter, which is going to happen in Taurus on May 18th, 2023, with both at 0 degrees, because Jupiter enters Taurus 2 days before. Now, this aspect really challenges us to move into this new paradigm, to embrace the change and be willing to shake things up. So if we can adjust, adapt, be flexible instead of being stubborn and rigid, we can set ourselves up in a real beneficial way for a long time to come. And this can have a direct impact on the whole new phase we are entering into. So be smart and be open to new ideas, be open to experimentation. No matter whether you want to do it or you don't like the new, but if you're open to experimentation, you can embrace this changing period effortlessly. Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn, the sign of the traditional, the old ways, discipline, and ambition for many years now, and is on the move. In fact, is already moved into Aquarius, which is the sign of the unconventional, of change, and of the new and different, very different energy. So right out of the gates, what's interesting to get started with is that Saturn tours Aquarius for a few years before Pluto enters, and Saturn exits the Aquarius, and Pluto goes into Pisces, and Pluto comes into Aquarius. So March 7th, 2023, Saturn was actually making way for the Pluto to enter Aquarius when it went into the Pisces. So Saturn is the planet of lessons. So hopefully we've been smart and learned from the lessons of our past life of the last few years, and learned a few major lessons that never should be repeated again. If you all don't do introspection, do, just retrospect and write down in your journals, what are the lessons that you learned? And then probably remind yourself every now and then not to take them again. So this can make the transit of Pluto in Aquarius so much easier, and we can be a lot smarter about it. But if we didn't learn the lesson, get ready for a Pluto takedown. Because if you haven't learned your lessons, then Pluto is actually going to be like a boss who will tear you down. So Pluto is the planet of transformation. You have to transform. Either do it of your own will, it's easier. If you don't, then Pluto will do things or push things in your way in such a way that transformation you have to change. So Pluto wants us to transform in order to become the best versions of ourselves and our lives possible. He actually wants us to live a beautiful life. The universal energies are good for everybody on this earth. They do injustice to nobody. When we talk about injustice happening to other people, is because they are not ready to accept the change. And if we haven't done that, Pluto looks around and sets fire to everything that needs to be destroyed to force the transformation on us, because he destroys everything that is no longer needed for our growth. So education plays a very important aspect to our lives during this phase. In Aquarius, this can mean that if we haven't transformed and been progressive with our ideas, unselfishly, be prepared to be shaken up. So while being true to ourselves, we also need to be honoring the collective to set up the future, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come, and to change the status quo. We may lose it all to rebuild and restructure for the benefit of all in various sectors of our life. Pluto has no problem with this, and it wants us to rise from the ashes, rise like a phoenix from the ashes. It will continue to destroy us until we finally come to our senses and understand the universal truth of being of use to some way or the other collectively, starting with our own selves personally. Pluto, mind you, can be destructive. And yes, it's the planet of power and control. And Pluto has no issue with showing us who's the boss. We have to get along in life through productive transformation. In the age of Aquarius, our future depends on it. I anticipate personally that this will be a trying time for the tech industry, and we already seem to be getting a glimpse of this. Will we tear down the billionaire frauds or worship them more? Pluto is obsessive and he's like a stalker. So that can happen if we go the wrong way and let them become the false ideals. It's like in our personal Asian scriptures, it's very well written that flattering people undeservedly is also earning a bad karma. Not appreciating the good, who's done good and who deserves it, is also bad karma. So we need to abstain from flattery, but appreciate what is good, and we need to inculcate that and do it according to our own values. But transform we must, change we must, because the Jupiter created the belief, Saturn has created the structure, and now Pluto has come to strengthen that structure. So at the same time, we can see technological advancements that help shape a new way of life and are a part of new future. We have to be smart with this though, and make sure it doesn't become our downfall later. Keep thinking about long-term consequences, not just the here and now. So both Aquarius and Pluto are science rulers. So I think we are going to see major scientific breakthroughs over the next 2 decades, far greater than anything we can imagine right now. We are taking leaps and bounds. Of course, the question always then becomes, will the powers that be let us all benefit from that or keep it for themselves? Coming together becomes more important with Pluto in Aquarius, and we can focus on building consensus a lot more. The opinions of friends and groups can be relied on more heavily on a personal level. But if our friends aren't good people and groups have ulterior motives, this isn't going to benefit them. We may still get the ideas, but it is not going to benefit people who have ulterior motives. This means we need to be mindful of who we are or who we are surrounding ourselves with to be the best influence possible on us. Now, Pluto's movement into Aquarius is particularly important because of its tie to the great mutation. Whenever the transit, that is the moving Jupiter and Saturn conjunct or align, this is called the Great Conjunction and is a time of shifting focus for the world that happens roughly every 20 years. So the great conjunction occurs in the same element of signs for a period of about 200 years. And when the element changes, this is called great mutation. This occurred in December 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct at 0 degrees Aquarius, moving us from the earth signs to the air signs. Now, this great mutation puts us into air signs, the social signs, but I feel like we didn't really feel the full push into this new paradigm at that point. And I suspect we were waiting for Pluto to come into Aquarius. We all are going to feel this push. Pluto in Aquarius isn't just Pluto moving into a new sign, which is a big deal since it spent so long in one sign, like 21 years. So it's truly pushing us into the future. It's truly a calling, telling us, plan your future now. This period is conducive for the new, the different, and a whole new way of living. Keep an open mind. Be open to the changes. Go with it. Embrace it. And make changes in your life to work with it. Where can you do better? Be better. What is unhealthy and negative, which needs to be negated? How can you change your perspective for the positive? What unique parts of yourself can you embrace to your benefit? How can you have a positive impact on the world in a healthy way? How can you be a walking example? How can you expand your knowledge and then utilize it for the benefit of the world at large? You do your bit without bothering about the scale of difference it makes. Just make it, even if it is small. How can you tether yourself to reality while moving towards the unknown future? What past demons and baggage do you need to work through and change in a healthy way? So Pluto in Aquarius basically is a harbinger of the new you. It's a beginning of the new you. It's like turning over a new leaf. But in reality, if we look at people with lots of Pluto points, they may not display either of these qualities. Pluto people are often quiet, reflective, and don't engage in power struggles. And this is exactly what the Pluto is telling you, because we all have a Pluto in our natal chart. Do not engage in power struggles. Deal with issues surrounding power from an early on, that is from now on, so that the faster you outgrow this habit of trying to impress people or getting into power struggles or getting into arguments, the rate of success will be faster. You just focus on what you can do, what you want to do, and how you will do it. So Pluto gives a very strong character in the sense that Pluto helps you stand by your values and encourages you towards spiritualism in a more realistic way. And what is spiritualism? Spiritualism is not chanting mantras or not going to temples or not going to the art of living or all the spiritual shopping. Spiritualism means if you can enjoy your own company, others will enjoy you too. So while some may find it harder than others to navigate the Pluto transition, but if they persist, the end result will be very consistent and happier. By looking into our natal charts, we must focus on the role Pluto plays in your natal chart. If only when we gain a deep understanding of how Pluto works that we can make the best out of Pluto in Aquarius. Your Pluto's natal placement is a key element of your personality, which when understood can help you make sense of yourself and your struggles in a way you've never made sense before. So learn more about your Pluto, your natal Pluto placement and the Pluto transit in Aquarius. For it's a new era, it's a new beginning for you. So Pluto in Capricorn showed us the urgency needed to care for and protect our planet, even our health. That was when Pluto was in Capricorn, the sign behind. But Pluto now in Aquarius is spurring innovation needed to make it possible, needed to, because if our health is good, that is where the wealth also comes from. So Pluto is in Aquarius from March 2023 to June 11, 2023, later from January 2024 until September 1st, 2024, again from November 19, 2024 to March 8, 2043, at which point it will oscillate between Aquarius and Pisces. So now during this profound time, you could experience transformations. These are the experiences you'll have, internal transformations, emotional healing, sexually rewarding experiences, jealousy, manipulative behavior, destructive tendencies, obsessive behavior, intense relationships, soul searching, truth searching, then psychological healing. The death and rebirth cycles increases your strength, soul connections, interest in psychology and parapsychology, the twists of fate, increased focus, etc. So during this transit of Pluto, the areas it touches upon for you are the areas that requires the transformation. And it's all starting from within. So Pluto will bring in the intensity that is needed, which leads to the explore the dimensions in a very deep way. We may never know how Pluto unfolds until the end. So look into the placements of the Aquarius sign, in which houses it occupies, and start cracking right away. Braced with this knowledge, you can reinvent yourself in a very profound way, and starting from now onwards, reinventing yourself will tentatively become very, very easy for you. Since these are very precious times, grab the opportunities by learning how to flow with the transits and get a boost to your psyche. It's a game changer time. Anticipate, interpret, and brace yourself with preparedness for life's most fateful transits. If you're between the ages of 1820, 2730, 40, 46, or 57 and 60, you will not want to miss actually grabbing the opportunities that the planets are giving you. So the house is now open for discussions and clearing your doubts. For a clear mind, plans better as you navigate your life towards success.